Welcome everyone to a new edition of Refine tier list. So this time we'll be covering the newly added refines that we've got on the last patch, which are Sophia, Klein, Delia, Lind, Sonia and Merck. So, alright. As you can see with the way I place things around, I've also moved Hinata down a tier. I genuinely don't think his refine is good enough. His weapon is good, the refine kills him, and you want to have a death refine, and if the only thing you've got going is a death fucking refine, you don't got much going for you, do you? So, alright, let's start with Sophia. Honestly, I was debating putting her down B tier as well, but there's one thing she can do that, well, sets her apart to some extent. So, Sophia is a Raven tone. IS really shows their skills at not thinking outside the box and only thinking of how people were using Sophia 1 year in the game rather than now. No one in their fucking mind runs Raven tone by choice on her. They would run Alto by choice. Raven Tome is only because they don't have anything better until Canis appeared on the scene. Now we and also Titania, but Titania is not worth fathering over. So, yeah, Raven Tome, great. We can totally see you get with the time. And this just kills Leon. Leon has now literally no use in... like, he doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. As an Altome, Sophia does it better. As a Raven Tome, Sophia does it better. Great! Thanks! Better not be able to have a niche with certain characters, right? Now, about the weapon itself, is it good? It can be. It really depends on how much you're willing to spend for the girl. Frankly, in most cases, this tome will not do much for her. You'll still be not even using it, you'll be using Alto. But in the event you do want to use it for, say, for raids, she can use it decently enough. What can you do with it? Well, this set is the one thing I can really think that really changes from using an Altome. Because keep in mind, an Altome with two people around you, that's not difficult. That's not difficult at all. As a matter of fact, you get the same amount of death res on multi-phase, though when you're attacking is going to be far more difficult to have two people around you, but on defense, not a problem. And on top of that, you get 4 attack, 4 speed. Yes, your weapon is 12 might, but having 2 people gives you an extra 2 might. The 4 speed is irrelevant, but at the end of the day, the point is, you have 2 more attack in this tome, and it's cheap as fuck. Doesn't cost 2. And yeah. Great. Great. So this tome's only utility is really just as a Veronica counter. You could also run TA if you feel fine enough with that. 2 one-shot Surters, possibly. But more importantly, just take no damage from Veronica and break her in 2. This is a good option for her, but that's really all it is, and it requires you killing a Nyla, who is a far better unit. If you like Sophia, this is an option. If you don't, well, sorry. That's kind of all it is. That's why she's so bottom fodder here. Now, for a unit that we did not become bottom fodder, but then again, it's really hard to fuck up a character that comes with a brave weapon to begin with, Klein. Now, Klein has only A+. I can expect people to be like, that's way too low, what the fuck? I want you to understand, I do not care about the weapon itself. I care about the refine. Learning a weapon doesn't cost due. Refining it does. If you already have the weapon to begin with, great. So what do you get from the refine? Well, you get chill death. That's it. That's all you get. And chill def alone can be useful. It's definitely one of the more useful chills, and that's why he's so high. But it's just a chill. Like, Soren here is in the same boat. He has a chill. The Altom effect doesn't do shit for him. It doesn't synergize at all. Then you have, what's the other one that has a chill? I think there's one that has chill speed. I can't remember. Oh no, chill res, it's Lilina. Lilina is good, but not because of the chill res all that much. It helps here and there, but that's it. So, about builds. Oh, and also, before someone asks what my opinion is he the next best Brave Bow now? He's the best budget Brave Bow now. However, if you're talking about like the best Brave Bow, it's still Gemki. The reason why I say it's still Gemki is because while their offense become very similar, as a matter of fact, Klein beats him in speed but loses in attack. At the end of the day, Gemki doesn't really need to have 3 more speed. It would be helpful here and there, but more often than not, Gemki will be fine because the first 2 hit does so much damage it kills most things that that have so much speed, even in abyssal maps. On the other hand, Klein kind of needs the speed to some extent, so kind of. But what differentiates Klein to Gemki is not really the offense, though it was to some extent, but rather the fact that there's a gap of 9 defense. Now, Gemki does lose when it comes down to bulk against dragons and against mages. However, when it comes down to armored DC unit, which is a thing you're going to be seeing a lot, well, Gemki does better. He just does better. Because he can take a hit, he can take multiple hits in fact. Sometimes as much as 3 in a map. Which is kind of insane considering he's a Brave Bow. With life and death. And he has more flexibility because you can actually run stuff like Fury and actually have still enough attack and speed, while also boosting your defense to stupid amount. Seriously. Why the fuck can a Brave Bow hit 40 defense is beyond me, but, you know. Still, he's a good option, and honestly, he should be a unit that you work on at least a 4-star plus 10, if not at least a 5-star. As for builds, it's pretty basic. I did not put a C skill because it's frankly flexible. Doesn't really matter what he gets. The most important buffs are attack and defense for him, because if he doesn't have a death buff, life and death will not work too good at low merges. Even now, at plus 10, you're kind of shaky, so on merge you might actually have problems if you can't run Death Tactic on your team. You absolutely need Death Tactic to work. Anything to buff your speed is not really required. It can help here and there, obviously, but typically your speed should be good enough. Unless you're unmerged, which again, might not be the best case scenario. Though, if you're on merge, you might actually want to go for a speed refine rather than chill def, because chill def can be a dead slot. Speed plus 3 will always be useful to you on low merges, or 4-star plus 10. So, yeah. Just thought I'd point that out. Other than this, chill def does fine. It's nothing to write home about, but it's there. So, yeah. I think that's it. So let's move on to Delia and Lind. Now, those are going to cover the screen because I'm gonna put both at once. Reason being, it's the same refine. That said, you might be wondering, Shay, why the fuck is Lind and Delia not on the same tier? Well, here's why. Lind already has so much speed, she doesn't really need the plus 5 speed from the weapon. As a matter of fact, it does fuck all for her. In a lot of scenario, you'll have already more than enough speed, even unmerged with Lind, especially if you get a speed plus 1. At that point, the refine becomes irrelevant because the only thing you gain from is attack. This is not good. This was the same problem her base weapon had, and for some reason they decided to repeat the problem. I have No clue why they're this stupid, but oh well. That said, the base effect is better than Aura, like, after you refine it, because Dark Aura buffing, you know, physical unit, Dragonstone, Beast unit, Sword, Axe, Lances. Those are a lot of units, and honestly, most units are those types. Unless you're running other mages, which I guess you have base Aura for, which is kind of redundant at this point. But frankly, it doesn't do much at the end of the day, outside of Delphia. Lind will prefer to have a Blar Blade, honestly, in most cases, unless you want her to be a bootleg buffer, to put it simply. Delphia, on the other hand, has 34 speed, 2 less points of speed, but more points in attack can definitely help out here. And her res, especially in higher merges, can give you a lot of room to improve. This is the build I came up with. Honestly, you don't need Sturdy Impact, but on lower merge, Sturdy Impact will do a lot for you. If you can't afford it, Sturdy Blow 2 should be good enough, just so you have some kind of basis of bulk. So yeah, other than that, she can also work as a buffer. The only buff I gave her was the rally speed def, since that's easily available if you use this set, because this set will be able to buff every stats as long as they're melee and adjacent to you. It's bootleg as fuck, but unlike Seth and Titania, she can work as a bootleg buffer that can actually fight back. Seth's main problem is, while he's red and most of the meta is green, if he's fighting something that's red or something that's blue, he's basically a sitting duck. And same thing with Titania for anything that's not blue. Delphia doesn't have that problem, because with attack plus, even at unmerged states with just Sturdy Blow 2, you have a grand total of 62 attack as long as you're within 2 space of anything fucking melee range. This is fantastic for you because it opens a lot of scenarios where you have enough speed, enough attack to just kill whatever is in front of you, and the things that you will struggle with, which are green, you'll do decent against if you're in desperation mode. So it's actually not that bad for her. At that point, Blar Blade is not really that good for her because she actually wants the extra 5 speed from the weapon, especially if she's unmerged. Because as you see here, she has 41 speed and her weapon kicks her up to 46, right? That's with a rally in mind, so yeah. And well, it's 42 speed unmerged. Now, you could also go for speed plus. That's fine on lower merges. On higher merges, you definitely want attack instead of speed, so you can have more chance to kill a unit that are green, like green armored units, such as Actor. Still, overall, it's a decent-ish refine for her. I consider it barely passable as a refine that's worth upgrading, but it's purely because of our stat line and how much it helps our stat line, rather than, well, how good it is. 5 attack speed is good, but typically you'd rather want that on a unit with 32 to 34 speed, which is like the range where you actually struggle to actually hit good amount of speed, but can actually hit with decent amount of buffs. And by decent amount, I mean just like speed tactic, own cab, and so on. You can hit like 45 speed and you're good to go. For example, my Quan does the same thing. My Quan is speed plus, he's plus 3, I think. And okay, so he has 33 base speed. With life and death and own cav, that's 44 speed. With a fuck ton of attack. It's the same logic here. So, yeah. It's just not really good for Lind, because frankly Lind will just want Blar Blade. If you're going to be running her, Blar Blade is your best bet to go for. Next up is Sonia and Merck. Merck did not change at all. He's still A+, and same scenario as Lind, except to make it more simple, Merrick's base weapon is really good. It's actually fantastic for him and does everything you want it to do. Everything. You have basically not much you can really ask for from that weapon at this point. And while Dark Excalibur could be good, considering I'm going to be showcasing Sonia and why it's good on her, while it is good on her, it's not good on Merrick, because look at the attack difference. 26 attack, you will struggle to make AoEs work, which is what makes Sonia so good. As a matter of fact, it was always what made Sonia worth mentioning before, and that Refine just amped up everything she had, because now she doesn't need to be in something like... She doesn't need to kill her seal slot for a one-time only special. She doesn't need to have multiple... She doesn't need to have 3 infantry pulls on the team. It's far more easy now. Here's the build. Now, you want Speed Plus, especially on lower merges, because then Flashing Blade would be more consistent. The C skill is honestly free, it doesn't matter what you want. Life and Death is there because, in case you don't know, AoEs works like this. They only take one thing in consideration. Your stat on this page. So you see the stat with 62 attack, that's your stat that's taken in consideration. If you have Death Blow 4, you get 0 extra damage on the AoE. Now, you might be wondering what makes her so good. Well, first off, she hits magic. AoE spamming is really good, and that's why she's S-, whereas Navarre is A+. Navarre hits melee, which can be good, and he's good. He is a good color for it. However, he does run into one problem. That problem being, well, too many foes have 40-50 death. As when it comes down to res, that's a totally different story. Hell, most set that you'll see with Surtur can be dealt with this set. Yeah. Because, let me just put it this way, okay? You fight a Surtur with 50 res. Granted, I'm considering a +10 Sonia here, but 50 res, come on. So you attack Surtur with this. Your 12 damage jumps to 18 because of Blazing Wind. And then, you get an extra 10 damage because of the Wadao effect. Because yes, AoEs are affected by Dark Excalibur. So you end up doing a Blazing Wind of 28 damage. You're kicking Surtur out of Wary Fighter, and then you kill him in the fight itself. That's how good this set can be. You literally are breaking apart some of the most broken unit of this. The only way Surtur can win is if he runs DC, which is rare, because if you run DC, then you're a sitting duck to any special users. So, yeah. She does a pretty good job on that regard. And hell, if she takes 2 hits to kill Surtur, that's fine. Because guess what happens after that? Flashing Blade procs twice, because you broke Wary Fighter, so you get to hit twice. So even through Steady Stance 4, even through Steady Stance 4, if you get 2 hits in, you still have Blazing Wind ready again. Life and Death is your best shot to increasing your AoE damage. Death Blow won't increase it. So, yeah. 50 res. Still kills. I think that's proof enough. Well, maybe not kill, but she does 52 damage to it in 1 round. So, very likely that at that point it's either dead or close as fuck to be dead. And if it has 40 res, you add an extra 15 damage on the AoE, and then an extra 10 more damage per hit, so it's very likely you're going to be bodying Surtur with this, and most green armored unit as well, because most green armored unit don't have a rest stat outside of Grail, Surtur, Christmas Crom, and Rest Plus Brave Ephraim. That's it. Everything else, no one cares. So yeah, you want Speed Plus to just make Flashing Blade more consistent. Attack Plus could do more damage, but frankly you don't really need the extra attack. As I said, the plus 10 damage with Dark Excalibur covers up for the 3 less attack, and having more speed is more important so you can actually double more consistently. This is a really broken set for her, honestly. All she needs, and this is the main reason she's S- and not S tier, she needs support. She needs Infantry Pulse twice to function. So actually, there's 2 ways. There's Infantry Pulse and Grain Scratcher, I believe that's the name, which is Hostile Spring Sakura's weapon. So if you have a, say, Lachesis, who has a decent amount of HP, you can combo Infantry Pulse with Grain Scratcher, and boom, there you go. As long as she has the highest attack of the party, that's AoE instantly. So, at that point, your Def and Res becomes irrelevant. So, yeah. Merrick can't really do this, even if you go Attack Plus, because, yeah, as you can see, speed-wise, he's gonna struggle. Attack-wise, 30-32 just doesn't cut it. He can kind of do it, but Sonia will do it so much more better that it's just not worth considering. Besides, Merrick's base tome with the cooldown -1 is just a more consistently useful tome for him, I feel like. And yeah, that's it. So, I'm gonna call it here. Hope that was informative enough, and yeah, see you later. Have a nice one, everyone.